Often as people get older, the decisions they made in early retirement come back to bite them. For example, selling up everything and living in a caravan for 20 years exploring Australia, or buying a block of land in a very rural location. As frailty or deteriorating health conditions begin to impact on the person in their mid to late 80s, they may have set up a situation where they have no permanent home and no money to buy something, or increasing isolation, especially if a partner passes away, and failing health. These are just a couple of situations where someone accessing aged care services might be exposed to higher risk and may need to be added to your vulnerable persons list. Hi, I'm Carrie from Culturally Directed Care Solutions, where we give you the knowledge and tools to provide quality care with confidence. Now, I'm all for living life to the fullest and intend to do a lot of travelling over the next 15 years whilst I'm in my go-go years, which are those years between 60 and 75, and hopefully for a few years beyond that. But I'm also mindful that as I get towards my 80s, I could begin to see physical changes that make me more vulnerable. Now, I am in a fortunate position and anticipate fewer issues with this, but there are many who aren't or won't be due to sometimes circumstances outside of their control. And this is why the Aged Care Quality and Safety Commission requires home care organisations to maintain a vulnerable persons register. But we've noted a lack of formal processes in organisations in both identifying vulnerability and knowing how to go about it. So with some of the organisations we worked with, we developed a template that their case managers now use, and it helps them to take a more organised approach. Whilst those of you who have access to our resource hub can download a copy of that template, you can also develop your own. But first, you need to know what are the indicators of increased risk or vulnerability, or to put it more simply, what makes a person more vulnerable? Well, here are some of the indicators that you might want to think about. Geographical isolation, so a person who lives at some distance from a city or township, someone who lives alone, who doesn't have visitors, someone who has a mental health condition or cognitive impairment, having a disability that affects their daily activities, lack of continence management, being a high falls risk person and having inadequate supervision, having limited access to shopping or meal preparation, being non-compliant with medications, having multiple health conditions, having difficulty communicating their needs, being reliant on essential powered equipment like oxygen or a dialysis machine, having no safe sleeping place, experiencing food security concerns, experiencing significant physical risks in the home, including abuse or neglect, and there only being one carer involved and potentially carer stress. Now, it's important to use indicators to identify those you need to put on your vulnerable persons register, because indicators are a way of understanding the risk profile of a person. Where there are multiple indicators, of course that risk profile increases. So it's a helpful way of identifying those people who are most at risk in your client cohort. Of course, once you've identified those people, you need to address the identified risks as much as possible. And that might include setting up additional monitoring like regular phone calls or more frequent visits to a person, making changes to the service provision like including medication reminders if that's become an issue. It could include educating family members on how to complete tasks safely, on what elder abuse or neglect looks like, or even how to look after themselves and where to get help for that. You will want to conduct regular assessments for each of those people, identifying those more at risk. And look for ways to improve the care and support for the person. Come up with new and innovative ideas where necessary to support them better. Of course, staff are always going to be a key consideration when supporting someone who is particularly vulnerable. So carry out recruitment checks for all new staff, and that includes police checks, which goes without saying, but also check references. Ask their previous employer whether they would assign the person to care for someone who is identified as vulnerable, and carry out regular spot checks, especially when they start working with the client, to make sure that the best possible care is being delivered. And before sending them out, make sure you train and equip your staff to deliver safe and quality care. And where necessary, allocate more than one carer over the week for someone who is particularly vulnerable. So, get reviewing your client lists. As I've noted previously, if you have a subscription to the Total Quality package, which is our resource hub, you can simply download the vulnerability checklist template. If you are a case manager and you want to improve your skills, including identifying and supporting vulnerable clients, then why not attend one of our case management workshops? Click on the link in the description box below to register your interest. Cheers for now, and I'll see you in another video very soon.